What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sammy J, and I want to do a quick announcement of how I'm done making dumb videos. I'm gonna try and be more informative, at least for the next few videos, so that we can get a little bit of traction here with the algorithm. It would really help if you could like and subscribe and hit that notification bell that you know when I uploaded. So I want to do a quick Q&A before I get into the main topic of today's video, which is what is my training program. Yeah, so let's get into this Q&A with like 2 questions that I have gotten in the comments. But I love questions. If you could drop them in this video or any of the other videos, I'll take a look and see what I can answer. I'll title this video Q&A 1 with some subsections. And that's not to say that I will answer your question in its entirety. You can probably look up your question on Google and get a better answer than what I give you, but hopefully what I tell you will spark some kind of interest or inspiration to something else that you can discover and learn for yourself, because we're all about learning on this channel. Even though we might not be the best at what we do, it's the learning and the addiction to uncovering knowledge for ourselves that we want to get into. So getting into this first question, I forgot who it was by. It was someone with a Simon from Alvin and the Chipmunks in his profile picture. He asked me what my best squat was. The last time I tested a max back squat was in 2019. It is 2021 right now, and I was able to do 285 for like a triple, I think. Kind of iffy. I ended up hurting a disc in my back that year, and you know, timing has been weird with how my collegiate swim schedule went, and COVID and you know, other injuries that I have not been able to, and also access to a squat rack that I have not been able to train my back squat. But you know, you can easily substitute back squat with Bulgarian split squats and other things like that. You get the same kind of effect training your legs. That makes me want to talk about my history of injury. So we had that bulge disc that I managed to solve. I'm pretty much good now. It's just access to training implements that I haven't been able to go back to my regular schedule or whatever. And also other injuries, like I hurt my shoulder earlier about a year ago that I've been getting through. And just very recently, like a month ago, I injured my adductor, my groin on the left side from skateboarding and doing that too much. Yeah, you just have to be careful if you're jumping into new activities. I would say for myself, I want to go so hard that, you know, I'll do anything to improve. Like with skateboarding, I was doing 100 flat ground attempts a day and without a lot of rest either. So it's like, imagine doing 100 plyometrics in a session, just like boom, boom, boom. Like that shit will, ooh, I can't really curse. That will really tax your body a lot. So now I'm not doing that. I took the bearings off my skateboard and the bushings off my skateboard because one of them is blown. Actually, not this one. I took the bushings out and I took the bearings out because I used them for another project, and also it helps me stay off the skateboard. Yeah, maybe I'll do a whole video on my injury history and how I overcame them to this point in time. My training age is not that long, but I have had like, I don't know, a few main injuries. I'll comment below if you want to see a video about injury, because shout out to Cammy Dunks. I watched his video. He's a recent subscriber and he commented on one of my videos. He's from across the pond, Great Britain. Sorry. And he said that over his 5 years of training, he's run into many injuries. So I don't know if he has any videos about that on his channel, but definitely check him out. He knows what the struggle's like, having to take time off from training. Then we have Carl Lotz asking about what your training program is, bro. What's your Instagram, bro? I don't have an Instagram right now. I'm thinking about making another one just for, you know, so I can link to my YouTube I will probably do that within the next few videos, and I'll start adding that in a call to action at the beginning and maybe end and maybe middle of my videos for you to like, comment, and subscribe and follow my other social medias. Links in the description. Let's see. Okay, Carl says, what is your training program? And to that I say, it was 3 days a week of basic things, just very basic. I went to the track, warmed up with like a 400-meter run around, and that's it for like to get my blood flowing. You don't need a lot. And then I did like 8 rounds of drills, like doing 20 to 30 meters of drills, A skips, B skips, whatever, just thinking about quick feet, you know, driving your knees, whatever cues you want to focus on in your training session. And then I would either focus all my efforts on training acceleration on one day or top speed on another day. So I would run like 20-meter flies for the top end speed days, up to 30 or 40-meter flies even. And for the accelerations, I would just do like 3-point starts and try to do really fast 20 meters. And I would get my times on all those. I will make a video on how to train solo as well, because over the last year, that's the primary, that's how I primarily trained solo. And it's like, how do you get your times if you're training by yourself? You can't hold a stopwatch and accurately get your time. So yeah, maybe I'll make a video about that. The biggest thing about my training program was researching things beforehand. What I did was look for the most efficient way to progress in terms of speed training, sprinting. So I looked up what proper mechanics were, and then proper programming. Nutrition and sleep I kind of already knew, and there's tons of videos on that, just for, you know, an athletic lifestyle and building muscle. So mechanics, I watched this one video by Jonas Doodo, I don't know. He's this other guy from Great Britain. He is a world-class track and field coach, and he has a really specific eye for biomechanics. He also has really cool tech that he's working on where it tracks your you know, mechanics of your limbs. It plots them to XY coordinates, and you can see how fast you're going and the velocity of each of your limbs just based on video footage. That's really cool because, you know, I'm in that tech space. I got that tech brain, and I'm all about the analytics. So looked at Jonas Doodo for biomechanics. There's like an hour-long special. He has tons of videos out there on both biomechanics of sprinting and for programming. And then for programming, I just looked up basic track and field programming. I actually went to the subreddit, reddit.com/r/sprinting. That has a really good FAQ on basic training. And I also read Charlie Francis's Speed Trap, I think it was. And that gave me a lot of information on basic programming. And I only trained 3 days a week, so it was basically 200 meters max per day. I wouldn't even do like 200. I would only be able to do like 8 efforts of 20-meter flies at most, and I was gassed. And that was enough to get me to improve over the course of a year from 14.0 as my baseline to probably like 12.3. I don't know if I were to run it before I injured myself skateboarding. But it's like, you know, you look for a quick progression, and I don't think that is the right mindset to have. It's like, this is something that you're going to dedicate time to. Yeah, so try to look at it from a long-term perspective, and like you're going to invest at least a year into training, because that's when you're going to see real results. It's like, don't expect a quick fix within 6 months or so. Even though you might see really good results within that period of time, it's best to have the mindset that, you know, you have to look at everything in a macro sense. Because if you're looking for quick improvements, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to burn yourself out. That's what happened to me when I was skateboarding. I was looking for quick improvements, and I didn't really take in the macro perspective and to realize how much I was actually progressing to the year, and reassessing my progress that way versus day to day. And it's like, oh, even though today wasn't that good, I know, and I have to trust my training that, I will be better in the macro sense. And it's okay for your priorities to change. You might want to change sports, but a lot of these athletic and fitness endeavors, they help each other out. There's overlap within track and field and priming your nervous system to be able to handle, heavy weights and high forces. Sprinting is one of the highest force activities you can put on your body. There's no reason why you see sprinters blow up in the weight room after they're done training. They dedicate themselves to lifting, and they improve really fast because their body is used to these high forces. Their tendons and bones have high density, and it's like they're athletic. They're not like, they're not soft people. And I was actually stronger in the clean after I did a year of track and field sprinting. My power cleans were good. My power went up. My vert went up. It's just really, things will help each other out. And, I still look pretty good. It's not like I shrank into nothingness because, I just did track and field, and I sprinted. I didn't do much lifting over the course of a year. Actually, when it got colder, I did. But yeah, my physique looks decent. Like, the other thing I wanted to touch on was my perception of who is actually training. You spend a lot of time on YouTube looking for athletes that are actually training and putting in consistent effort in these more niche activities like track and field, sprinting, athletics. It's not as common. I know there's a few guys out there. Enkiri, Elite Fitness, that guy's a beast. There's also Athlete.X, not to be confused with Athlete.X. Weightlifting on YouTube, powerlifting on YouTube is one of the more bigger mainstream things. And it's like these smaller communities of swimming and track and field are a lot less researched and, brought out. Due to the lower popularity, there isn't as much focused methodology of training, and there's not as many people that are willing to go out and spend time to make videos on what the most appropriate way to train is, and their progression and their fruits of their labor looks like. It's not a 3-plate bench press. It's not 4 plates on the bar where everyone goes to. I'm the only one that is my age, early 20s at the track. I'm literally there by myself. I'm training solo. I see old women walking. I see old men jogging. Same thing at the pools. It's a very much, young people are not in it in their early 20s. They just go back to weightlifting or I guess they go to weightlifting or other sports that are more social, like basketball, football, baseball, team sports. But it's like I don't need friends. They disappoint me. I'm all about that life, and I'm all about improvement that I can measurably see. Shout out kneesovertoesguy. Rock climbing, more social. That's super social sport. You're just sitting on the ground. If you're not on the wall, you're talking to people about the beta, the rock climbing instruction, what you're going to do when you get on the wall. Yeah, track and field, you just, you're out there, you're running. Swimming, you're blowing bubbles. You can't talk to anybody except, 5 seconds you're on the wall. You can't talk to anybody. It's very, you're on your path for sure. There's demographics for certain sports, and I think track and field is one where, younger athletes tend to gravitate towards, and then it kind of drops off after you graduate. The masters track and field scene, especially as a sprinter, I don't think it's super active, but I know from personal experience, from swimming my whole life, being a competitive swimmer, that part of swimming culture. You know, nobody really swims after college unless you're going to the Olympics. Or, you know, you have a chance to swim at a professional level and earn money because, you know, the training is so demanding. And it's a huge time commitment. And also skateboarding. It's not really it's becoming more of a sport, but when you're young, that's when you have time to dedicate yourself to time on your board. And it's not always advantageous as a 21-year-old to, you know, want to improve, because you need to spend a ton of time on your board in order to get comfortable enough to land tricks. Like, you just have to push around and, you know, hang out, loiter at spots, and that's not really, I mean, that's part of the culture too, but as an adult, it's really hard to get into that. And I guess this is looking at it from a means of making progress within that realm of activity. I kind of ranted a little bit, but hopefully I got my point across with what my training program was. Really, my training program is not going to fit your life, you know, what you need as an athlete. I don't know what your starting point is. There's a lot to uncover in terms of, you know, where you're at and understanding your own body, how you respond to certain training, whether you're more of a bounce-centric athlete or a strength-centric athlete. You know, there's a lot of different factors that go into designing the right training for you, but if you're watching this, you're probably pretty interested in that stuff anyway. If there's another channel I would recommend, it would be Essop Merrick. He is another guy from Great Britain that has a whole channel playlist of videos dedicated to training. Yeah, so if you made it this far, feel free to drop a comment about what you want to see in future videos or questions you have. I'll probably make another Q&A video if this gets some comments, some action. My throat is closing up. Yeah, so hit that like